You think you know yourself. You think you're a good person. Kind, honest, compassionate. But Rumi would ask you, how do you treat people who can't do anything for you? People who can't advance your career. Who can't give you status. Who can't offer you anything. How do you treat them? Do you ignore them? Do you dismiss them? Do you treat them as invisible? Or do you treat them with the same respect, the same kindness, the same attention that you give to people who matter? Because that treatment, that behavior, that's your true character. Not what you claim, not what you believe, but what you do. When there's nothing to gain, most people present a version of themselves to the world. A curated version. A performed version. They're polite to their boss. Charming to potential partners. Respectful to people they admire. Generous to people who can return the favor. And they think, I'm a good person. Look how kind I am. Look how respectful. Look how considerate. But Rumi would say, that's not character. That's strategy. That's performance. That's self-interest dressed up as virtue. Because real character isn't how you treat people who can help you. It's how you treat people who can't. Think about the last time you interacted with a waiter, or a cashier, or a janitor, or someone delivering your food. How did you treat them? Did you make eye contact? Did you say thank you? Did you acknowledge them as a human being? Or did you treat them as a function? As a service? As something barely worth noticing? And be honest, because this is where your true character lives. Not in how you treat your friends. Not in how you treat your family. Not in how you treat people you want something from. But in how you treat people who are, in your mental hierarchy, beneath you. People who serve you. People who clean up after you. People who have no power over your life. Rumi said that the measure of a soul is how it treats those who can offer it nothing. Because kindness to equals is easy. Respect for superiors is natural. But compassion for those below you, that's rare. That's real. That's character. And most people fail this test constantly, without even realizing they're being tested. They're rude to waiters, dismissive to cashiers, impatient with customer service, short with delivery drivers, and they don't think twice about it. Because in their mind, these people don't matter. They're not important. They're not part of the inner circle. They're just there, performing a function. And once that function is complete, they disappear, back into irrelevance. But Rumi would tell you, how you treat these people, these invisible people, it reveals everything. It reveals whether your kindness is genuine or conditional, whether your respect is universal or selective, whether your compassion extends to all humans or just the ones who can benefit you. And most people, if they're honest, will realize their kindness is conditional, their respect is selective, their compassion is limited, not because they're bad people, but because they've internalized a hierarchy, a mental ranking of who matters and who doesn't, and they treat people accordingly. This hierarchy is invisible but powerful. At the top are people with status, power, influence, money, people who can open doors, create opportunities, advance your position. And these people get your best self, your most charming self, your most attentive self. Below them are equals, friends, colleagues, family, people who matter personally, even if they can't help professionally. And they get a good version of you. Authentic, maybe. Kind, usually. But still, there's an awareness, a calculation, a consideration of the relationship's value. And at the bottom are the invisible people, the ones who serve, the ones who clean, the ones who deliver, the ones who stand behind counters and take orders and smile politely while being treated like furniture. And these people, in most people's minds, don't matter. Not really. Not enough to warrant genuine attention, genuine respect, genuine kindness. They get the leftover version of you, the tired version, the impatient version, the version that doesn't bother with eye contact or thank yous or basic human acknowledgement. Because what's the point? They're not going to remember you. They're not important. They don't matter. But Rumi said, they do matter. Not because of what they can do for you, but because they're human. And how you treat humans when there's nothing to gain, that's the truest measure of who you are. Because anyone can be kind to people who matter. Anyone can be respectful to superiors. Anyone can be generous when it benefits them. But being kind to someone who can't help you, who can't advance you, who can't do anything for you, it requires something else. That requires actual character, actual compassion, actual integrity. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't have it. Not consistently. They think they do. They believe they're good people. But their behavior tells a different story. Watch someone interact with a waiter when they're in a hurry. Watch someone speak to a customer service representative when something goes wrong. Watch someone dismiss a janitor or a delivery person or anyone they perceive as lower status. And you'll see their true character. Not the version they present on social media. Not the version they perform in front of people who matter. But the real version. The unfiltered version. The version that appears when they think no one important is watching. Rumi told a story about a wealthy man who was known for his generosity. He donated to charity. He helped his friends. He was respected in the community. Everyone thought, what a good man. What a kind soul. But Rumi watched how this man treated his servants. How he spoke to them. How he dismissed them. How he never looked them in the eye. Never thanked them. Never acknowledged them as equals. And Rumi said, this man is not generous. He's performing generosity. His kindness is strategic. His compassion is limited. He treats people well when it serves him, when it builds his reputation, when it benefits his status. But when there's nothing to gain, when no one important is watching, the mask drops. And what's beneath is indifference, contempt, superiority. And the wealthy man, when confronted, was shocked. He said, but I give so much. I help so many. How can you say I lack character? And Rumi replied, because you only give to those who matter. You only help those who can enhance your reputation. But the servant who cleans your home, who you see every day, who serves you faithfully, you treat him like furniture. You don't see him. You don't acknowledge him. You don't value him, because he can't do anything for you. And that reveals your truth. Your kindness is transactional. Your compassion is selective. And your character is conditional. This story shook the wealthy man, because he realized Rumi was right. He had been performing virtue, performing generosity, performing kindness, but only when it mattered, only when people could see, only when it benefited him. And in the small moments, in the private moments, in the interactions with people who couldn't advance his status, he was cold, dismissive, indifferent, and that was his true character. Not the public version, not the performed version, but the version that appeared when there was nothing to gain. So ask yourself, how do you treat people who can't do anything for you? The waiter who brings your food, the cashier who rings up your groceries, the janitor who cleans your building, the person who delivers your packages. Do you see them? Do you acknowledge them? Do you treat them with respect, with kindness, with basic human decency? Or do you treat them as invisible, as functions, as things to be used and forgotten? And be honest, because your answer reveals everything. Not who you want to be, not who you think you are, but who you actually are. When the performance stops, when the mask drops, when there's nothing to gain. And if you realize, if you're honest enough to admit that you fail this test, that you treat invisible people as invisible, don't despair. Because Rumi didn't teach this to shame people. He taught it to wake them up, to create awareness, to show them where their character truly lives. And once you see it, once you recognize the pattern, you can change it. Not through grand gestures, not through public acts of virtue, but through small, private acts of genuine kindness. To people who can't do anything for you. To people who won't remember your name. To people who will never be able to return the favor. Start small. The next time you interact with someone in service, look them in the eye. Say thank you. Mean it. Acknowledge them as a human being, not a function. If someone makes a mistake, be patient. Be kind. Remember that they're having a day too. That they're tired too. That they're human too. And your response to their mistake, your patience or your impatience, it reveals your character. Not what you claim to value, but what you actually value. When it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when there's nothing to gain, Rumi also taught that how you treat invisible people affects you. Not just them. When you're kind to someone who can't help you, something shifts inside. You feel lighter, freer, more connected. Because you're acting from genuine compassion, not strategy, not calculation, not self-interest. And that genuine compassion, it nourishes your soul. It expands your heart. It reminds you that you're not separate from others, that their humanity is your humanity, that their dignity is your dignity. But when you're dismissive, when you're rude, when you treat people as invisible, it hardens you. It creates separation. It reinforces the illusion that you're above them, that you're better, that you matter more. And that illusion, that superiority, it damages you. It closes your heart. It shrinks your soul. It makes you smaller. Not them, you, because contempt is corrosive. Indifference is toxic. And superiority is a cage. That keeps you trapped in a small, competitive, hierarchical world, where people are ranked, where kindness is transactional, where compassion is conditional. Rumi's invitation is to break free from that cage, to treat every person you encounter with genuine respect, not because they can help you, not because they matter in your hierarchy, but because they're human. And that's enough. That's everything. Their humanity is not conditional on their status. Their worth is not determined by their ability to serve your interests. They matter because they exist, because they breathe, because they feel, because they're here, just like you. And when you start living this way, when you start treating invisible people as visible, as equal, as worthy of your full attention and respect, something remarkable happens. You stop performing character. You start embodying it. You stop calculating kindness. You start expressing it naturally. You stop separating people into categories of important and unimportant. You start seeing everyone as human, as equal, as deserving of dignity. And that seeing, that recognition, that's the foundation of true character. Not the character you claim, not the character you perform, but the character you live, in every moment, with every person, when there's nothing to gain, when no one is watching, when it's just you and another human being, and you choose kindness, not strategy, kindness, and that choice reveals everything.